The planet of Renora was a frozen world where no human had ever gone before. Endless white plains stretched farther than the eye could see, and storms came without warning. Storms so cold they could freeze metal in seconds. The local people, the Alari, had learned to survive in these deadly winds. Their skin shimmered like glass, their hearts pumped slow, and they feared only one thing: the ice storm of the north. But this storm was not natural. Something had awakened it. Deep in the blizzard, a small Alari village struggled to survive. Their energy domes flickered. Inside one of the shelters, a mother named Cielra held her young child close. The child's name was Elior, no older than 5. His glass-like skin glowed faintly, a sign that his tiny body was losing warmth. Cielra's heart ached. She had already lost her husband to the last winter. Now she could feel the cold stealing her son's breath. Outside, the storm roared like a living beast. Suddenly, a voice came through the wind, a deep, distorted sound mixed with static. "If anyone can hear this, I'm coming." The villagers froze. No one from their kind could speak like that. It was the sound of a human. Far above the planet, a rescue ship orbited the frozen world. Its pilot, Commander Ryan Hale, stared at the radar. He saw the energy signal, weak, fading, and surrounded by storm interference. The rest of his crew had advised him to turn back. The storm was too strong. The planet's magnetic fields were unstable. But Ryan couldn't forget the message he'd intercepted 2 hours ago. Child trapped. Dome failing, help. He didn't know who had sent it. He didn't even know if it was real. But the fear in that trembling voice had cut through his chest. "I'm going down there," he told his ship's AI. "Warning," the AI replied calmly. "Surface temperature, -150. Survival rate, 3%. Ryan grinned slightly. 3% is still better than 0. And with that, the shuttle entered the storm. The landing was chaos. Ice shards the size of buildings smashed into the hull. Lightning danced across the clouds. The shuttle crashed into the snow, sliding until it hit a ridge. The engines died. Ryan unstrapped himself, coughing through smoke. The controls were dead, the power gone. Only his suit lights remained. He stepped out into the storm, his visor fogging instantly. The wind screamed. Visibility was almost 0. He could barely walk, each step sinking knee-deep into snow. His thermal scanner blinked. A weak heat source about 500 meters ahead. That had to be the dome. Inside the dying Alari shelter, Cielra looked up. She heard a thud outside, faint but real. She thought it was the storm's trick until a shadow moved near the window. A strange figure appeared, a tall shape covered in metal armor, glowing blue. She gasped and held her child tighter. The door opened with a hiss. Cold air rushed in, and with it came the human. Ryan's voice came through the translator. "Don't move. I'm here to help." The Alari villagers backed away in fear. Humans were myths to them, beings from the stars, destroyers of worlds. But Cielra didn't care about myths anymore. Her child's breathing was slowing. She cried, "Please, he's dying." Ryan moved quickly. He knelt beside the child, opening his med kit. His gloves shook as he scanned Elior's body. The readings were terrifying. Core temperature dropping fast, oxygen levels nearly 0. He looked at Cielra and said softly, "I can save him, but I'll need to break the rules." She didn't understand what he meant. But Ryan did. Galactic law forbade humans from giving alien species direct medical aid. It was called the interference ban. The punishment was exile or worse. He hesitated for a second, then looked into the child's fading eyes. "Law or no law," he whispered, "I'm not letting a kid die in front of me." He connected his oxygen line to the boy's lungs. His own air supply began to drop. The storm howled louder outside, almost as if the planet itself was angry. The villagers watched in silence as the human's visor frost-covered and his breath grew heavy. Finally, the child gasped. Once, then again. The glow in his skin returned. Cielra fell to her knees, tears freezing on her cheeks. Ryan smiled weakly behind his visor. "He's going to make it." Then his suit alarm screamed, "Oxygen critical." He collapsed to the floor, eyes dimming as the storm thundered above. The storm outside finally began to fade. The wind howled softer now, and the heavy snow turned into a quiet white mist. Inside the broken Alari dome, Commander Ryan Hale lay unconscious beside the small child he had just saved. His helmet lights flickered, his oxygen level dangerously low. Cielra, the Alari mother, stared at him. this strange human who had risked his life for her son. His skin looked strange to her eyes, soft and pink instead of glass blue. His breathing was shallow. She didn't know much about humans, but she could see that he was dying. Her son, Elior, now breathed peacefully again, glowing softly. Sailra's heart filled with both gratitude and guilt. She whispered, "He saved my child, and now he will die because of us." The other Aelari villagers stood back, afraid. One of the elders spoke sharply, "We cannot touch him. The law forbids contact with outsiders. The galactic enforcers will destroy us if they find out." But Sailra shook her head, trembling. "The law means nothing if it kills the good." She knelt beside Ryan and looked at his suit. Strange lights blinked on his wrist. She remembered stories told by old travelers, that humans carried machines that could heal, repair, and fight storms. Carefully, she pressed a glowing button on his chest plate. The suit hissed and released a small dose of oxygen. Ryan's chest moved again. His visor fogged, then cleared, revealing his tired eyes. He looked around slowly and smiled weakly. "He's alive." "Good," Sailra nodded. "You saved him, but now you need help." Ryan's voice was faint. "No, I'll manage, just keep him warm. The storm will return." He tried to stand, but stumbled. Sailra caught him before he fell. Her hands glowed faintly blue against his human skin. It felt fragile yet strong, alive in a way her people had never known. Outside the dome, the snow cracked. A red light appeared in the distance, then another. The elder gasped, "The enforcers!" They must have traced his ship. Sailra looked out in fear. The galactic enforcers, machines created to keep peace across the stars, had one mission: punish those who broke the interference ban. They didn't care who lived or died, only that the rules were followed. Ryan forced himself to his feet. "We need to move now," Sailra asked. "Where will we go?" "The enforcers control the skies." Ryan tapped his wrist console, trying to wake the ship's AI. "Ayla, respond." A faint voice came through static. "Commander, system damage critical. Enforcer drones inbound. You have 4 minutes." 4 minutes, Ryan repeated quietly. He looked at Sailra. "Grab the boy and run east, toward the ice caves." Sailra hesitated. "And you?" Ryan smiled faintly. "I'll distract them. They're looking for me." Elior's small hand reached out from Sailra's arms. "Don't leave," the child whispered in a trembling voice. For a moment, Ryan's chest ached. He'd lost his own family years ago to a war on another world. The child's words cut deep. But he stayed calm. "I promise, little one. I'll come back." He stepped into the storm again, the snow crunching under his boots. His suit's light cut through the mist. From above, the enforcer drones descended. Metal wings spread, red eyes glowing like fire. Sailra and the villagers ran through the snow. Behind them, flashes of light exploded in the storm. Blaster shots, fire, and ice. She looked back once and saw Ryan fighting alone. His plasma shield glowed blue, reflecting every bolt that struck it. He moved with precision, trained and fearless, but there were too many drones. A blast hit his shoulder. He fell to one knee, snow hissing around the melting armor. He gritted his teeth, fired again, and destroyed 2 drones with a single shot. Ayla's voice came through the comms again. "Commander, your power core is unstable. You must retreat." Ryan smiled bitterly. "Not yet." He raised his weapon again, but before he could fire, a massive beam struck the ground beside him. The ice shattered, and he fell into the darkness below. Hours later, when the storm cleared, Sailra returned with Elior in her arms. The battlefield was silent. Only twisted metal and burning ice remained. She searched desperately, calling into the cold wind, "Ryan! Ryan Hale!" No answer. She dropped to her knees, tears forming in her glowing eyes. "He saved my son," and the stars took him away. Then from beneath the ice, a faint sound echoed, metal shifting, a faint human voice whispering through static. "Still alive." Mission not over. Sailra froze. She looked down, hope bursting through her heart. The man who defied the stars was not gone. The storm had ended, but the silence that followed was even more terrifying. The land of Rhinora lay covered in a deep white blanket of snow, broken only by the black smoke rising from the crash site. Sailra stood near the edge of the crater, holding her son Elior close. The cold bit into her skin, yet her heart burned with one thought: the human might still be alive. She took a cautious step forward. The wind whispered across the empty ice. Then faintly, from deep below the surface, she heard it again, a slow mechanical hum mixed with the soft voice of a man fighting to breathe. Her chest tightened. Ryan, he's under there. The villagers behind her looked uneasy. You can't go down there, one warned. That place is death. The enforcer's beams melted the ground, it's unstable. But Salra didn't listen. He saved my child. Now I will save him. She placed Elir into the arms of an elder and tied a rope around her waist. The villagers tried to stop her, but she jumped down into the darkness anyway. The hole was deep, leading to a network of old tunnels under the ice. The Elari had abandoned these caverns long ago after strange machines had been found buried there, remnants of an ancient war. Salra's glow lit the way as she moved deeper. Cracks glimmered like frozen veins on the walls. Each breath echoed. Then she saw it, a faint blue light flickering through the frost. She ran forward and found Commander Ryan Hale, half buried in ice and debris. His armor was damaged, sparks flashing across the metal plates. His face was pale behind his cracked visor. "Ryan!" she cried, falling to her knees beside him. His eyes opened slowly, the corners of his mouth lifting slightly. "You shouldn't be here. You saved my child," she said firmly. "Now I save you." She tried to lift the broken metal piece trapping his arm, but it was too heavy. Ryan used his remaining strength to activate his wrist console. The armor released a pulse, melting the ice around them slightly. He coughed. "Power, almost gone. You need to get out before it collapses." Salra shook her head. "No, you're coming with me." Then something in the shadows moved. A glowing red eye appeared, then another. A machine, an old enforcer drone, half buried but still alive. Its voice crackled. "Illegal contact detected. Human interference confirmed. Sentence termination." Ryan reached for his weapon, but it was gone. The drone's arm lifted, charging a plasma bolt. Without thinking, Salra stepped in front of him, raising her glowing hands. "No," she shouted. Her body shimmered brighter than ever before. The bolt fired and hit her light instead of flesh. The energy bounced back, striking the drone and shattering it into pieces. The cave shook from the explosion. Ryan stared in shock. "What was that?" Salra fell to the ground, breathing hard. "Our people. We hold energy inside, but using it like this burns life away." He quickly grabbed her arm. "Then don't do it again. You hear me?" She smiled faintly. "You humans always say that when it's already too late." Ryan managed to free himself completely. He lifted Salra, supporting her with his good arm. "Come on. We're getting out of here." They moved through the tunnels, half walking, half stumbling. Above them, the ice groaned. Small chunks began to fall. Ryan's wrist console blinked weakly. The ship's AI, Ayla, came online again. "Commander, you are under the surface. Structural integrity failing. Nearest exit, North Tunnel, 200 meters. He tightened his grip on Salra. "We can make it." They ran, or tried to. The path was breaking apart, ice collapsing into black pits. Ryan used what little power remained in his armor to shield them from falling debris. Each pulse drained more energy. Finally, light appeared ahead, the mouth of a tunnel leading outside. Ryan pushed Salra forward. "Go, I'll hold the passage." She turned back, eyes glowing with tears. "No, Ryan, not again. You won't die for us twice." Before he could argue, she grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the exit. Together, they stumbled into the open air as the tunnel caved in behind them with a thunderous roar. They collapsed on the snow, gasping. Above them, dawn broke over Rhinora for the first time in weeks. The storm was gone. Ryan looked at Salra. Her glow had dimmed, but she was alive. "You just saved my life," he said softly. She smiled weakly. "Now we are even." But in the sky, a dark shape moved, a massive enforcer ship descending through the clouds. Ryan's eyes hardened. "No, they're not done yet." Salra followed his gaze and whispered, "Then the real storm has just begun." The sky over Rhinora turned black again, but this time it was not a storm. It was the enforcer ship, a giant silver-black vessel hanging low in the clouds like a watching god. Its red lights cut through the mist, sweeping across the icy plain where Ryan Hale and Salra stood. Ryan stared up, breathing hard. "They found us faster than I expected." Salra's glow dimmed with fear. "They will destroy everything. They do not forgive anyone who breaks the law." Her words hung heavy in the cold air. The child Ilir clung to her leg, wide-eyed, his small body trembling. Ryan's visor cracked, his armor sparking from earlier battles. "Then we don't run," he said quietly. "We make them listen." "Listen?" Salra echoed, disbelief in her voice. "The enforcers do not listen. They erase." Ryan looked down at her, his eyes tired but burning with defiance. "Then I'll teach them what humanity means." Above them, the enforcer ship released a loud mechanical roar. Dozens of drones dropped from its hull, their wings slicing through the frozen air. Red lasers scanned the ground. The machines spoke in one cold voice. "Human interference confirmed. Ilari assistance detected. Both parties will be terminated under galactic law. Article 9. Salra stepped in front of Ryan, her glass-like skin shining faintly. "We cannot fight them. We must hide." Ryan shook his head. "Hiding won't work. They'll hunt this village until every trace of me is gone." "If I surrender, maybe—" Salra's hand shot out, grabbing his arm. "No, you gave my child life. I will not let you give yours away." Her words cut through him. For a moment he saw his past. His wife, his daughter, lost to war because no one had broken the rules to help them. He clenched his fists. "Then we fight," he said softly. They ran toward the ice ridge where Ryan's crashed shuttle lay half-buried. The ship's AI, Ayla, flickered to life as they entered. "Commander, your vitals are low. Power systems at 12%. Enforcers approaching fast." Ryan coughed and dropped into the pilot's seat. "Then 12% will have to be enough." Salra placed Elior in a corner, wrapping him in thermal blankets. "Will your ship fly?" Ryan smirked. "Fly? No, but it can still bite." He activated the last of the ship's defenses, old plasma cannons mounted under the wings. The system hummed, then sparked violently. One cannon powered on, the other burned out. "One shot," Ayla warned. "Make it count." Outside, the enforcer drone spread across the ice, scanning for heat. Ryan looked at Salra. "When I fire, the ice will crack. Take your son and run east. Find shelter in the crystal caves." Salra shook her head fiercely. "You keep asking me to run. But maybe it is time you ran." Ryan chuckled weakly. "Humans aren't good at that." The lead drone hovered close now, red light glowing brighter. "Surrender, human. You have violated the interference ban. Compassion is not allowed." Ryan's hand hovered over the trigger. "Then it's time someone broke your rules." He pressed the button. A beam of blue fire roared from the cannon, slamming into the lead drone. The explosion tore through the ice, creating a wave of white mist and heat. The ground cracked open, swallowing several machines, but the enforcer ship above remained unharmed. It turned slowly, charging its main cannon aimed directly at them. Ryan's ship shook violently as the enforcer weapon powered up. "Ayla, options." "None that guarantee survival," the AI replied calmly. Salra looked at Ryan. "We saved each other once. Maybe we can do it again." She pressed her glowing hands against the control panel. Her energy merged with the ship's systems, light spreading through every wire. The dead cannon flickered, then came alive. Ryan's eyes widened. "Salra, what are you doing?" "Giving your machine a second heartbeat," she said softly. The ship's power surged to 80%. Both cannons roared, firing together into the enforcer's cannon just as it released its shot. The beams collided mid-air, an explosion of fire and light that split the sky in two. The shockwave threw Ryan and Salra backward. The enforcer ship shuddered, one wing tearing apart, smoke pouring from its engines. It began to fall toward the frozen plains. Ryan's ship crashed too, the cockpit filling with sparks and smoke. Ayla's voice faded. "Power draining? Goodbye, Commander." Ryan crawled toward Salra. Her glow was dimming again, her energy nearly gone. He caught her hand. "You saved us again," she smiled faintly. "Then maybe compassion is stronger than law." The enforcer ship exploded in the distance, lighting up the night sky like a second sun. Ryan looked out the cracked window and whispered, "The stars will come for us now, but they'll remember what they saw today." Salra closed her eyes. "Let them come. We will show them that mercy is not weakness." The wreckage of the enforcer ship still burned in the distance, painting the sky red against the endless white of Renora. Pieces of metal rained down like falling stars. The air smelled of smoke and ice. Commander Ryan Hale sat near the shattered hull of his shuttle, his suit torn and flickering with dying lights. Every breath hurt. His oxygen tank was almost empty, but he didn't care. He stared at the horizon where Salra and her son Elior were hidden among the snow dunes. He whispered to himself, "We survived. For now." A voice crackled through his helmet speaker. His ship's AI, Ayla, weak but still alive. "Commander, enforcer distress signal sent before destruction. Reinforcements. En route." Ryan's heart sank. "How long?" "Estimated time, 6 hours. 6 hours." That was all the time they had before the full force of the Galactic Council arrived. And this time it wouldn't just be drones. It would be warships. He stood slowly, pain stabbing through his ribs. "Then we used those 6 hours wisely." Inside a small cave nearby, Sailra tended to Elior. The boy's glow was faint but steady. She could hear the human's voice outside, faint through the wind. She wanted to stop him, to tell him to rest, but she knew he wouldn't listen. When she stepped outside, she found Ryan trying to repair a communication panel from his wrecked ship. His hands trembled from the cold, but he kept working. "You should be resting," she said gently. Ryan smiled without looking up. "Can't, not yet. I'm trying to block the Enforcer's signal so their fleet can't find your village." Sailra frowned. "Why do you keep risking yourself? Your people will punish you for this." Ryan stopped for a moment. His eyes darkened. "They already did." She looked at him with confusion. "My last mission," he said quietly. "I was ordered to abandon a colony during a virus outbreak. Civilians begged for help. The law said no contact, so we left. Thousands died. I couldn't forgive myself. That's why I came here. I wanted to do something right." For once, Sailra was silent. The snow fell gently between them. Finally, she said, "Then you already have." A sudden rumble echoed through the sky. The ground shook. Ryan looked up. Dark shadows were moving in orbit. His radar blinked red. Ayla's faint voice came again. "Multiple signatures detected. Enforcer reinforcements entering atmosphere." Ryan's jaw tightened. "They're early." He grabbed his rifle and looked at Sailra. "Take Elior and run to the mountains. Hide there until the storms return." Sailra shook her head fiercely. "No, you fought for us. We fight with you too, Sailra. You don't understand. These aren't just drones. These are soldiers. Real ones." She met his eyes glowing with quiet fire. "Then let them see what real compassion looks like." The first Enforcer dropships broke through the clouds, their engines roaring like thunder. Snow exploded around them as they landed. Tall armored figures marched out. Metal giants, their armor polished like mirrors. Their faces hidden behind black visors. One of them spoke in a voice that echoed like machinery. "Commander Ryan Hale of the Human Federation. You have broken galactic law. Surrender now and your death will be painless." Ryan stood his ground, rifle raised. "You talk too much." The leader tilted his head. "Then you die with your pets." The Enforcers fired first. Plasma bolts sliced through the air. Ryan dove behind a rock, returning fire with sharp precision. The blasts lit the frozen ground with every shot. Sailra stepped beside him, her hands glowing with blue light. She focused, releasing a shockwave of energy that threw several Enforcers back. The snow itself seemed to bend around her power. Ryan looked at her in awe. "You can control the cold?" "Not control," she said, breathing heavily. "I borrow it," he grinned. "Then borrow a lot." The battle raged across the ice. Ryan moved like a ghost, his rifle picking targets one by one. Sailra stood near him, her energy shield glowing like a star. But the Enforcers kept coming. More ships, more soldiers. Elior hid behind the rocks, watching his mother and the human fight side by side. His small heart pounded with fear and pride. Then the Enforcer leader stepped forward, raising his weapon, a huge cannon charged with red plasma. He fired. The blast hit the ground near Ryan, throwing him across the ice. His armor cracked. He groaned, barely conscious. Sailra screamed his name and ran to him. The Enforcer aimed again. Without thinking, she unleashed every ounce of energy left inside her. The world turned blue. Light exploded from her body, freezing the air itself. The Enforcer soldiers stopped in place, trapped in crystal ice. But Sailra fell to her knees, trembling. Her glow faded to near darkness. Ryan crawled to her side, shaking. "No, stay with me, please," she smiled weakly. "You showed me compassion. Now I show you strength." The Enforcer leader broke free from the ice, staggering but alive. His cannon glowed again. Ryan stood between him and Sailra, raising his broken rifle. "Come on," he growled. "Try me." The Enforcer raised his weapon, then stopped. From the clouds above, a new light appeared. Not red, white, pure, blinding. A voice thundered from the sky. Enough! Ryan and Sailra looked up, shielding their eyes. The enforcers froze. Even the leader lowered his weapon. Something or someone was descending from the light. The light in the sky grew brighter until it was impossible to look at. The snow around Ryan, Hale, Sailra, and little Elior melted into steam. The wind stopped, the sound stopped, everything froze in stillness. Then a calm, powerful voice filled the air. All who carry blood and breath, listen. The enforcers dropped to one knee. Their red lights dimmed. For the first time, Ryan saw fear in their metal faces. Sailra clutched her son close, whispering, "It cannot be. That voice belongs to the Council Corps, the mind that rules the stars." Ryan blinked through the glare. A figure was descending from the light, tall, glowing, neither man nor machine. Its body shimmered like flowing glass, its eyes like twin suns. When it spoke again, the air vibrated. "Human Ryan Hale, you broke the interference ban. Why?" Ryan's heart pounded. He took a shaky step forward. "Because a child was dying. And the law forbids your kind to alter another species' fate," the voice replied. "Do you deny this truth?" Ryan straightened, pain forgotten. "No, I don't deny it. But maybe your truth forgot something, mercy." The air trembled at that word. "Mercy?" Ryan nodded. "Yes, compassion. You built laws to protect life, but now those laws kill it. What's the point of your order if it costs innocent lives?" The enforcers stirred uneasily, their heads turning toward the glowing figure. None dared to speak. The Corps' light dimmed slightly, as if thinking. "You speak as if you know justice better than the stars." Ryan's voice cracked but did not falter. "I don't know justice, but I know right from wrong. When I saw that boy dying, I didn't see an alien. I saw a child who needed help." For a long moment, the world was silent. Even the storm clouds above paused their movement. Then, unexpectedly, the Corps turned its gaze to Sailra. "And you, Elari mother, why do you stand beside this human, knowing he defied the law?" Sailra's voice was soft but steady. "Because he did what our God stopped doing long ago. He cared." The Corps' light flickered again, as if confused by her simple words. "You protect him, though he brings punishment upon you." She nodded. "Then let your punishment fall on both of us. But know this, if compassion is a crime, then we are proud to be guilty." The Corps remained silent for several seconds. Then its glow shifted, turning from white to gold. Strange. In 10,000 years, no one has spoken such words. Ryan blinked. Maybe it's time someone did. The Corps raised one luminous hand. "Your act of interference changed more than one life, human. The storm that covered this world was not natural. It was born from our machines placed here to keep your kinds apart. Yet your defiance broke the seal. You forced us to see what we had forgotten." Sailra stepped forward slowly. "Forgotten?" "Compassion," said the Corps. "We once had it. Before law replaced heart." The ground beneath them began to glow with golden cracks, spreading out like veins of light. The frozen field shimmered and the dark sky started to clear. The enforcers looked around in confusion. Their red eyes flickered, turning pale blue. Their weapons powered down. "The ban will be reviewed," the Corps declared. "But for every new truth there is a price." Ryan's stomach tightened. "What price?" "Balance." A wave of golden energy rippled outward. Ryan felt his body grow heavy. His armor beeped wildly. Ayla's faint voice whispered through static. "Commander, your life signs are merging with planetary frequency." He collapsed to his knees, gasping. Sailra rushed to him. "What's happening?" The Corps' voice softened. "His essence connects to the storm's energy. He was never meant to touch this world. To heal it, he must stay within it." Ryan's breath came out in white mist. "You mean—" "I can't leave." "You will live," the Corps said gently, but not as before. "The storm will rest in you now. The balance demands a guardian." Sailra's eyes filled with tears. "He gave life, and now you take his freedom?" "Not taken," the Corps corrected. "Transformed." Ryan reached for Sailra's hand, his strength fading. "Looks like I found my purpose after all." The Corps lifted its hand once more, and light engulfed him. The wind stopped. The sky cleared, and warmth spread across the ice. When the glow faded, Ryan was gone. In his place stood a faint figure made of light and ice, watching silently as dawn rose. Elior looked up, whispering, "Mama, is that him?" Sailra nodded, smiling through tears. "Yes, my child. The human became the storm, but a storm that will never harm again. The first dawn in years touched the icy land of Renora. The endless storm that once ruled the planet was gone. The winds were silent. The sky was clear for the first time anyone could remember. But in that peace, one figure stood alone, made of light, frost, and human memory. Commander Ryan Hale was no longer flesh and blood. His body had become part of the frozen world. His voice echoed softly in the wind, calm and steady like a guardian watching over everything. The storm sleeps now. I will not let it wake again. Far below the glowing ice ridge, Saelra and her child Elior walked across the white plain. The Enforcer army was gone. The great ship that had once threatened them now lay quiet and buried under the snow, its power cores frozen solid. Saelra's breath formed small clouds in the morning air. Her glowing eyes searched the horizon, hoping to see the man who had saved them all, but only the light shimmered on the ice, moving gently as if alive. Elior tugged her hand. "Mama, the air feels warm." She smiled faintly. "That's because he's here." He changed the storm into warmth. Days passed, then weeks. The people of Rhinora slowly came out from hiding. They found the world changing. Ice melting in small pools, crystal flowers growing where none had ever lived before. The Elari elders called it a miracle. Selra called it Ryan's promise. But she also knew the truth. The galaxy would not stay silent forever. The Galactic Council had heard of the Enforcer's defeat and the Core's change of law. Some called Ryan a savior. Others called him a danger. And somewhere deep in orbit, new eyes watched Renora. One evening, as Selra gathered ice water near the caves, a small ship broke through the clouds. It was silver, marked with the insignia of the Human Federation. A human voice echoed through a speaker. "This is Commander Lyra Stone of the rescue vessel Nova Wing. We are looking for any survivors of the crash. Name, Ryan Hale." Selra froze. Her heart skipped. She ran up the ridge and waved, her skin glowing bright blue. "Here, over here!" The ship landed softly, melting the snow beneath it. The human officer stepped out, her visor gleaming. When she saw the Elari woman, she hesitated. "You're not human," Lyra said carefully. Selra shook her head. "No, but he was. And he saved us." Lyra's eyes softened. "Then you knew him." Selra nodded. "He became the storm." The commander frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" She led Lyra to the top of the ice ridge. There, glowing softly under the sunrise, was a figure frozen in the crystal, a man standing tall, eyes closed, surrounded by faint blue light. It was Ryan. Lyra stepped closer, her voice trembling. "Oh my God, it's really him." "He is not dead," Selra said quietly. "He became part of this world. His soul protects it." Lyra knelt beside the ice, placing her hand against it. Her scanner beeped. "Energy pattern. Stable. No decay. He's alive in another form." Selra looked at her. "Can you free him?" Lyra shook her head sadly. "If we remove him, the planet's balance will collapse. The core changed him to keep the storm contained." The Ilari mother smiled softly. "Then let him stay. He chose this." Lyra looked at the frozen figure one last time. He broke the greatest law in the galaxy. And maybe he fixed it too. Years passed. The storm never returned. The Ilari and humans made contact again, peacefully this time. A new law was written, inspired by the man who defied the stars. It was called the Compassion Accord. It said no law shall forbid kindness. Selra's village grew into a thriving colony, the first mixed world of two species. At the center of the settlement, a monument stood made of crystal ice and metal. Inside it shimmered a blue light that pulsed gently with every sunrise. The children of both worlds came to touch it, feeling warmth through their small hands. The elders said it was the heartbeat of the Stormkeeper, and sometimes, when the sky turned silver and the wind whispered across the plains, a voice could still be heard, calm, strong, and human. Protect the weak, question the law, and never let the fire of mercy die. Selra, now older, would smile at those words. She would hold Elior's hand and whisper, "He kept his promise. The storm sleeps, but his heart still watches." Elior, glowing brighter than any other child, looked up at the stars. "Will he ever come back?" Selra looked at the light within the ice and answered softly, "He never left.